Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U-East horizon and stared at the dead world below. Kepler 442c had no life, no atmosphere, and no reason for anyone to visit it. But the sensors had picked up something strange 3 days ago. Something that did not belong on a dead rock floating in space. "Sir, we're ready to land," said Lieutenant Ben Hayes from the pilot's seat. "The surface looks stable enough for the shuttle." Jake nodded and turned to the woman standing beside him. Dr. Lisa Carter was the best alien expert in human space. If anyone could figure out what was down there, it would be her. "What do you think, Lisa?" Jake asked. Lisa looked at the data on her tablet. "The energy readings are unlike anything we've seen before. Whatever is down there has been powered for a very long time. Maybe thousands of years." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Humans had been exploring space for over 200 years, but they had never found signs of truly ancient alien life. Most aliens they met were roughly at the same level as humans, give or take a few hundred years of development. "Let's go take a look," Jake said. The shuttle ride down to the surface was quiet. Besides Jake and Lisa, the team included Dr. Peter Brooks, who studied alien languages, and Sergeant Tony Martinez, their security officer. All of them stared out the windows as they descended toward the mysterious energy source. The surface of Kepler 442c looked like a desert made of gray dust and black rocks. But in the middle of this wasteland sat something that took their breath away. It was a pyramid, but not like any human pyramid. This one seemed to be made of a material that shifted colors in the light. Sometimes it looked silver, sometimes blue, sometimes like it was made of pure starlight. "My God," whispered Peter. "How old do you think it is?" "Old enough that whoever built it is probably long gone," Lisa said. But her voice was excited rather than sad. They landed the shuttle a safe distance from the pyramid and put on their environment suits. The atmosphere was too thin to breathe, and the temperature was cold enough to freeze water instantly. As they walked toward the pyramid, Jake noticed that the ground around it was different. Instead of the gray dust that covered the rest of the planet, the area around the pyramid was covered in what looked like black glass. The material was melted and then cooled very quickly, Lisa observed, scanning the ground with her equipment. This happened a long time ago, but the energy readings suggest whatever did this was incredibly powerful. The pyramid had no visible doors or windows. The walls were smooth and seemed to glow with their own inner light. But as they walked around the base, Peter suddenly stopped. "Look at this," he called out. On the side of the pyramid facing away from their landing site, symbols had been carved into the wall, but these were not random scratches. They were clearly a form of writing, arranged in neat rows and columns. Lisa ran her scanner over the symbols. "The computer is having trouble identifying the language, but it's definitely artificial. Someone wrote this on purpose." Peter was already taking pictures and making notes. "Some of these symbols look familiar. I've seen similar markings in the ruins on Proxima b and the artifacts we found in the Alpha Centauri system." Jake felt that chill again, but stronger this time. "You're saying multiple alien races use the same writing system?" "Or," Peter said slowly, "the same race left messages in multiple places. They spent the next 4 hours studying the pyramid." Lisa found a way to activate a hidden entrance using her equipment's energy beam. The door simply melted away, revealing a passage that led down into the structure. Inside, the pyramid was even more amazing than outside. The walls glowed with soft light that seemed to come from the material itself. The passages were wide enough for 3 humans to walk side by side, and the ceiling was high enough that they did not feel closed in. At the center of the pyramid, they found a large room with a raised platform in the middle. On the platform sat a cube about the size of a human head. The cube was made of the same color-shifting material as the pyramid, and it hummed with energy. It's some kind of data storage device, Lisa said, running her scans. But the technology is far beyond anything we understand. Peter was more interested. In the walls of the room, they were covered with the same symbols they had seen outside, but here there were also pictures. The pictures showed scenes that made Jake's heart race. The images showed space battles between fleets of ships. They showed planets burning and stars going dark. And they showed creatures that looked disturbingly like humans, but not quite right. These human-like beings held weapons that blazed with light and stood on the decks of ships that looked like they were made of pure energy. "Lisa," Jake said quietly, "I think you need to see this." Lisa joined him at the wall where the clearest images were located. Her face went pale as she studied the pictures. "Peter," she called, "can you read any of this text?" Peter worked for over an hour, comparing the symbols to every alien language in their database. Finally, he looked up with an expression of shock. "And fear. I can only translate parts of it," he said. "But the message is clear enough. It's a warning." "What kind of warning?" Jake asked. Peter pointed to a section of text near the bottom of the wall. "It says something like, 'When the young species of the third world awakens to the void, the stars themselves shall burn with their fury.'" Lisa stared at the images of the human-like creatures with their blazing weapons. "The third world ... Earth is the third planet from our sun." "That could be a coincidence," Tony said, but his voice did not sound convinced. Peter shook his head. "There's more. Look at this description. The bipedal descendants of predators, born of water and fire, who turn tools into weapons and weapons into salvation." Jake felt his mouth go dry. The description fit humans perfectly. Earth was a world of water and fire. Humans had evolved from predators. And throughout their history, they had indeed turned tools into weapons, and weapons into tools of salvation. Who wrote this? Lisa asked in a whisper. Peter continued reading. "It's signed by something called the Valdari. According to this, they left this message 3 million years ago." 3 million years. Jake tried to imagine a civilization that old. Humans had only been using fire for a few 100,000 years. 3 million years ago. Their ancestors were still learning to use simple stone tools. Lisa was studying the data cube with growing excitement. "I think this contains more information." "A lot more. But we need to get it back to the ship to properly analyze it." As they prepared to leave the pyramid, Jake took one last look at the wall of images. The human-like figures in the pictures held their blazing weapons high, and behind them, stars burned like candles in the darkness, dot back on the horizon. Jake sent an urgent message to Earth. Admiral Kate Sullivan needed to know about this discovery immediately. As he composed the message, he wondered if they had just found evidence of humanity's destiny, or a warning about their future. Either way, Jake had a feeling that life in the galaxy was about to change forever. The prophecy was clear, even if its meaning was not. And somewhere in the back of his mind, a voice whispered that humanity's time of hiding among the stars was coming to an end. Admiral Kate Sullivan read Captain Morrison's report for the third time, but the words did not get any less disturbing. She sat in her office on Luna Station, looking out at the Earth through the massive windows. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from here, but Kate knew that peace might not last much longer. "Admiral," her aide said through the COM system, "President Martinez is ready for the emergency council meeting." Kate straightened her uniform and walked to the secure conference room. The holographic displays showed the faces of 12 other people, the most important leaders in human space. President Helen Martinez sat at the head of the virtual table, her face grim. "We've all read the report from the horizon," President Martinez began. "I want to hear opinions." "Dr. Cross, what do your people make of this Valdari technology?" Dr. Nathan Cross appeared on one of the screens. He was the head of human military research, and had been working on alien technology for 20 years. The data cube that Captain Morrison found contains information beyond anything we've ever seen. Our computers are still trying to decode it, but what we've learned so far is incredible and terrifying. Explain, said General Ford, the head of Colonial Defense. Nathan's face was serious. The Valdari had technology that could manipulate space itself. They could move faster than light, without using jump gates. They could turn stars into weapons. And according to their records, they vanished completely 3 million years ago. Did they destroy themselves? Asked Dr. White, the head of Human Science Council. We don't think so, Nathan replied. The records suggest they chose to leave this dimension entirely. But before they left, they built things, lots of things, and they hid them all over the galaxy. Kate leaned forward. What kind of things? Weapons, ships, entire planetary defense systems, all waiting for someone to activate them. And according to the prophecy Captain Morrison found, that someone is us. President Martinez was quiet for a moment. Have there been any other developments since the Horizon made this discovery? Kate's stomach tightened. Yes, Madam President. We've lost contact with 3 outer colonies in the past week. Delta Prime, New Colorado, and the mining station at Ross 248. Our long-range sensors are picking up massive energy signatures moving toward human space. Alien fleets? Asked General Ford. Multiple alien fleets, Kate confirmed. The largest we've ever detected. They're coming from the direction of the galactic core, where the major alien empires are located. Dr. White looked confused. Why would they attack us now? We've had peaceful contact with several alien races for decades. Nathan pulled up a holographic star map. Because they know about the prophecy, too. Our analysis of the Valdari data suggests that copies of this warning were placed throughout the galaxy. The major alien powers have probably known about it for centuries, maybe longer. And now they think it's about us, President Martinez said. It is about us, Kate said firmly. The description fits too perfectly to be coincidence. We are the descendants of predators. We were born on a world of water and fire, and we have always turned our tools into weapons. General Ford stood up, even though he was only a hologram. Then we fight. Humans have never backed down from a challenge. Against multiple alien empires? Dr. White asked. We're outnumbered by millions to 1. Numbers aren't everything, said Colonel Sam Rodriguez, joining the conversation from his base on Mars. Humans have advantages that aliens don't understand. We think differently. We adapt faster. And we never give up. Kate had fought beside Sam during the border wars against the Krill pirates. She knew he was right about human advantages, but she also knew they might not be enough. What about the Valdari technology? President Martinez asked Nathan. Can we use it? Nathan looked excited and worried at the same time. That's the amazing part. The technology seems designed specifically for human neural patterns. Our brains can interface with it in ways that other species cannot. We've already begun preliminary tests. What kind of tests? Kate asked. We found activation codes in the data cube. When our volunteers think about them while touching certain materials, incredible things happen. Energy shields that respond to emotions. Weapons that grow more powerful when the user is determined to protect others. Ships that move faster when their crews work together. Dr. White shook her head. That sounds like magic, not science. Science so advanced, it looks like magic, Nathan corrected. The Valdari understood something about consciousness and reality that we're only beginning to grasp. They built their technology to respond to the deepest parts of the mind. President Martinez made her decision. Dr. Cross, you have unlimited resources to study this technology. General Ford began mobilizing all military forces. Colonel Rodriguez, I want the Ranger Corps ready for anything. Admiral Sullivan, prepare our fleets for the largest battle in human history. Yes, Madam President, they all said after the meeting ended. Kate stayed in the conference room and looked at the star map Nathan had shown them. The alien fleets were moving steadily toward human space. They would arrive in less than 2 months. Her personal communicator chimed. It was a message from Captain Morrison on the horizon. Admiral, we've made another discovery. Dr. Carter found references to other Valdari sites in the data cube. There are artifacts hidden on dozens of worlds throughout the galaxy. If we can collect them before the aliens arrive, we might have a chance. Kate smiled for the first time in days. Then collect them, Captain. Take whatever ships and people you need. Find those artifacts. Meanwhile, in the deep space between the stars, War Marshal Kethmos of the Zephyrian Empire studied the reports from his scouts. The humans were more widespread than expected, and their technology was advancing rapidly. Supreme Commander, he said to the figure on his communication screen, the humans have begun activating Valdari sites. They found the primary cache on Kepler 442c. Supreme Commander Lord Vex High was a creature of scales and sharp teeth, evolved from predators on a world of endless night. Then we are too late to prevent the awakening. But we can still prevent the fulfillment of the prophecy. Your orders, Supreme Commander? Destroy every human world. Kill every human ship. Burn their colonies to ash. The prophecy speaks of humanity, awakening to the void, but dead species do not awaken to anything. What if the prophecy is wrong? What if humans are not the species it describes? Lord Vex High's eyes glowed red in the darkness of his command ship. Then we will have eliminated a potential threat to galactic stability. If the prophecy is correct, we will have saved the galaxy from chaos. Either way, humanity dies. The largest armada in galactic history began to move faster toward human space. 500 ships from 12 different alien races, all united in their fear of what humanity might become. Back on Earth, Dr. Lisa Carter worked frantically to decode more of the Valdari data. The cube contained not just warnings and prophecies, but also something that looked like instructions. Instructions for humans who found themselves facing exactly the situation that was now developing. Peter, she called to her colleague, look at this section. It's not just about what will happen. It's about what humans should do when it happens. Peter read over her shoulder. It's like they knew this day would come. Like they planned for it. Maybe they did, Lisa said. Maybe the Valdari didn't disappear by accident. Maybe they chose to leave so that someone else could take their place. She looked up at the stars visible through the laboratory window. Somewhere, out there, alien fleets were coming to destroy humanity. But also out there were Valdari artifacts waiting to be found. The prophecy said that when humanity awakened, the stars would blaze. Lisa was beginning to understand that this might not be a threat, it might be a promise. The first alien ships arrived at New Austin 3 weeks earlier than expected. Colony Governor Mary Thompson watched from the command center as 12 massive vessels dropped out of hyperspace above her world. Each ship was larger than anything humans had ever built. All civilian transports begin immediate evacuation, she ordered into her communicator. Military units prepare for defensive action. But the humans of New Austin had a secret. For the past month, Captain Jake Morrison and Dr. Lisa Carter had been racing across the galaxy, collecting Valdari artifacts. 2 weeks ago, they had brought one to New Austin. The artifact sat in the center of the colony's main square, looking like a crystal tree made of starlight. When the alien ships appeared, the artifact began to glow brighter. Commander Rick Johnson of the U.E.S. Guardian felt the change immediately. His ship was orbiting New Austin with 5 other human vessels, outnumbered 2 to 1 by the alien fleet. But something was different about his ship now. The controls responded to his thoughts as much as his hands. The weapons seemed eager to. Fire, like hunting dogs straining at their leash. "All ships, this is Admiral Sullivan," came the voice over the communication system. "Remember what Dr. Cross taught you. Trust your instincts. Let the ship feel your determination." Rick closed his eyes and thought about the families on the planet below. He thought about his own children, safe on Earth, but threatened by this. Alien invasion. He felt anger rise in his chest, but not wild anger. Cold, focused anger that demanded justice. The Guardian responded. Energy flowed through systems that should not have been connected. Weapons that had never been designed to. Work together suddenly functioned as one perfect instrument of war. "Guardian to fleet," Rick said. "I'm reading impossible power levels. Whatever this Valdari technology is doing, it's working." The alien fleet fired first. Massive energy beams lanced out toward the human ships, bright enough to blind anyone looking directly at them. These were weapons that could crack planets, but the human ships moved like they had never moved before. They twisted through space in patterns that should have torn them apart. Energy shields that should have failed after one hit grew stronger. Under fire. Captain Sarah Lewis of the UES Defiant found herself laughing as her ship danced between alien weapons fire. "This is impossible," she said to her crew. "We're flying like we're in atmosphere, not space." "Captain," her weapons officer said, "our guns are charging beyond safe levels, but all systems show green." "Then let's show these aliens what humans can do," Sarah replied. The human ships fired back. Their weapons had been good before, but now they were devastating. Beams of energy that pulsed with colors that should not exist in normal space reached out and touched the alien vessels. The alien shields, which had protected ships for thousands of years, simply vanished. The energy passed through them like they were not there and struck the alien hulls directly. War Marshal Kethmos watched in shock as one of his cruisers exploded. The human weapons had penetrated armor that no known technology should have been able to damage. "How are they doing?" "This?" he demanded of his science officer. "Unknown, War Marshal. Their energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. It's as if their weapons exist partially outside normal space." 2 more alien ships exploded, then 3 more. The mighty Zephyrian fleet, which had conquered 100 worlds, was being destroyed by 6 human vessels that should have been insignificant. "All ships, retreat to minimum safe distance," Kethmos ordered. "Prepare planet-killing weapons. If we cannot defeat their ships, we will destroy their world." But as the alien fleet pulled back, something else began to happen. The Valdari artifact on New Austin's surface sent out a pulse of energy that reached every human in the system. People on the planet below felt it. The crews of the human ships felt it. Even humans on distant worlds felt something change. Dr. Nathan Cross, monitoring the battle from his laboratory on Luna, watched his instruments go wild. "The artifact isn't just enhancing our technology," he said to his assistant. "It's enhancing us." On New Austin, Governor Mary Thompson felt her mind expand. Suddenly she could sense the positions of every alien ship in the system. She could feel the fear and confusion of the alien crews. And she could feel something else, something vast and ancient, welcoming humanity to a larger universe. "All human ships," she broadcast. "I can see their positions. I can guide your fire." "Commander." Rick Johnson did not question how a planetary governor could suddenly track enemy ships better than military sensors. He simply trusted her guidance and watched as his weapons found their targets with perfect accuracy. The alien fleet tried to retreat, but the human ships followed them. Not out of bloodlust, but with the calm determination of people protecting their homes. One by one, the alien vessels were disabled or destroyed. War Marshal Kethmos found himself alone, his flagship surrounded by human ships that moved like schools of fish around a predator. "Human vessels," he broadcast, "I surrender my fleet. Spare my crew." Captain Jake Morrison, who had arrived in the middle of the battle with another Valdari artifact, responded, "War Marshal, your crew will be treated according to the laws of them. War. But first, you need to send a message to your Supreme Commander." "What message?" "Tell him that the prophecy was not a warning about what humans might become. It was a promise about what we already are." A battle of New Austin lasted only 4 hours, but its effects rippled across the galaxy. News of the alien defeat spread to every human colony and every alien world. On Earth, President Martinez called another emergency session. "Reports are coming in from across human space," she said. "Wherever we've placed Valdari artifacts, our people are changing. They're stronger, faster, smarter. Our ships are performing beyond their design specifications. Our weapons are more powerful than they have any right to be." Dr. Cross appeared on the communication screen, his face excited, but also concerned. "Madam President, the Valdari technology isn't just giving us better tools. It's awakening something that was already inside us, something that's been sleeping for millions of years." "Are we still human?" asked General Ford. "We're more human than we've ever been," Dr. Lisa Carter said, joining the conversation from the horizon. "The Valdari artifacts don't change what we are. They reveal what we've always had the potential to become." Admiral Kate Sullivan was studying tactical reports from across human space. "The alien empires are pulling back their fleets and regrouping. They're scared, but they're not giving up. We need to be ready for their next attack." Colonel Sam Rodriguez had a different concern. "What about the human colonies that don't have artifacts yet? They're still vulnerable. Then we bring artifacts to them," Captain Morrison said. "The Valdari left enough of them scattered across the galaxy to protect every human world. We just need to find them." But even as humanity celebrated their first victory, Supreme Commander Lord Vex-High was planning his response. He sat in his command chamber aboard the massive Dreadnought Annihilator, studying the reports from the Battle of New Austin. "The humans have only begun to access the Valdari legacy," he said to his Council of War. "If we allow them to collect more artifacts, they will become unstoppable." "What do you propose, Supreme Commander?" asked Admiral Yethra of the Hegemony Fleet. "We stop holding back. We commit every ship, every weapon, every soldier to this war. We turn the galaxy into a battlefield and hunt down every human wherever they hide." "That will mean the destruction of many worlds," warned General Zektal of the Dominion forces. Lord Vex-High's eyes glowed with cold light. "Better a galaxy of ash than a galaxy ruled by the descendants of predators." The prophecy spoke of the stars blazing when humanity awakens. "We will make sure they blaze with funeral fires." Across the galaxy, the greatest armada ever assembled began to move toward human space. 1,000,000 ships from dozens of alien races, all united in their determination to prevent humanity from claiming their destined role. But on every human world, in every human ship, and in every human heart, something ancient and powerful was awakening. The stars themselves seemed to pulse with new energy, as if the galaxy was preparing for the arrival of its new guardians. The war for humanity's future had begun, and the universe would never be the same. Captain Jake Morrison stood in the center of the ancient Valdari homeworld and felt the weight of 3 million years pressing down on him. The planet was not like other worlds. Instead of rock and metal, it seemed to be made of pure crystallized energy that shifted between states of matter as he watched. "Jake," Dr. Lisa Carter called from across the vast chamber they had discovered at the planet's core. "You need to see this." Jake walked toward her, his footsteps echoing strangely in. the space that was larger than any human building. Around them, walls of living light displayed images and symbols that hurt to look at directly. "It's a control center," Lisa said, her voice filled with awe. "But not for a ship or a station. I think it controls the entire Valdari network across the galaxy." In the center of the chamber stood a pillar of the same shifting material as the planet itself. It pulsed with energy that seemed to respond to their presence, growing brighter as they approached. "The readings are incredible," Lisa continued, studying her instruments. "This thing is connected to every Valdari artifact we've found. Every weapon, every ship, every defense system. It's all part of one massive network." Jake reached out his hand toward the pillar and felt a shock of recognition. The energy felt familiar, like something he had always carried inside himself, but never noticed. "What are you doing?" Lisa asked, concerned. "I think this is what we came here for," Jake said. "Not just to find the artifacts, but to activate the network, to take our place as the Valdari's successors." Back in human space, the war was not going well. The alien armada had arrived in force, bringing ships from races that had never worked together before. They attacked 12 human colonies at once, stretching human defenses to the breaking point. Admiral Kate Sullivan commanded the defense of the Centauri system from the bridge of her flagship, the UES Liberty. Around her, 100 human ships faced off against 3 times that many alien vessels. "Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "we're reading massive energy spikes from all enemy ships. They're preparing some kind of coordinated attack." Kate nodded grimly. The aliens had learned from their defeat at New Austin. Instead of fighting humans ship to ship, they were trying to overwhelm them with pure numbers and firepower. "All ships, prepare for emergency dispersal pattern," she ordered. "Don't let them concentrate fire on any single target." But even as her ships moved to avoid the incoming attack, Kate knew they could not keep this up forever. Humanity might have gained incredible new abilities from the Valdari artifacts, but they were still vastly outnumbered. The alien fleet fired as one. Thousands of energy beams reached out across space like the fingers of an angry god. Human ships twisted and dodged with impossible grace, but there were simply too many weapons firing at once. The UE's Courage took a direct hit and exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the entire battlefield. Then the UE's Determination was overwhelmed by multiple beams and broke apart. More human ships followed. Kate felt each loss like a physical blow. These were not just ships, but people. Friends and colleagues who had trusted her to lead them to victory. "Admiral," her communications officer said urgently, "we're receiving a transmission from Colonel Rodriguez. He's requesting permission to use the Prometheus Protocol." Kate's blood went cold. The Prometheus Protocol was Dr. Nathan Cross's most dangerous creation. It allowed human crews to channel their life force directly into their ship's weapons, creating devastating attacks at the cost of their own lives. "Tell him permission denied," Kate said firmly. "We don't sacrifice our people." But even as she spoke, she watched another human ship die under alien fire. How many more would be lost before this battle ended? On the planet Vega Prime, Colonel Sam Rodriguez was not waiting for permission. He had seen the tactical reports from across human space. Everywhere, human forces were being pushed back by sheer weight of numbers. "All volunteers, report to your stations," he announced over the ship's communication system. "Today we show the galaxy what it means to threaten humanity." The volunteers came forward without hesitation. Men and women who had families waiting for them at home, but who understood that those families would not survive if humanity lost this war. Commander Amy Johnson was the first to reach the Prometheus station. She was young, barely 30, with a daughter she had not seen in 6 months. "Amy, "You don't have to do this," Sam said gently. "Yes, I do," she replied, placing her hands on the control interface. "My daughter deserves to grow up in a galaxy where humans are free." The Prometheus engine activated. Amy felt her life force flowing into the ship's weapons, but instead of pain, she felt a strange sense of completion. This was what she was meant to do. This was her purpose. The UES Vengeance fired a beam of energy unlike anything ever seen before. It was not just a weapon, but a declaration of human will made manifest. The beam reached across space and struck the alien command ship, passing through its shields like they were not there. The alien flagship exploded, taking with it the coordination center for the entire enemy fleet. But Amy Johnson collapsed at her station, her life force spent. "Amy," Sam caught her as she fell. "Tell my daughter," she whispered, "that Mommy helped save the stars." Amy's sacrifice was broadcast across both human and alien communication networks. Her final words spread from ship to ship, planet to planet, until every human in the galaxy had heard them. The effect was immediate and devastating for the alien forces. On every battlefield, human crews suddenly fought with a fury and determination that defied explanation. Ships that should have been destroyed kept fighting. Weapons that should have run out of power continued firing. War Marshal Kefmos, commanding the alien fleet at Centauri, watched his tactical displays with growing alarm. "The humans are not following any known patterns of behavior," he reported. To Supreme Commander Vexhai, "They fight like each battle is personal." "Because it is personal to them," Vexhai replied from his command ship at the edge of human space. "That is what makes them dangerous. That is why they must be destroyed." But on the Valdari homeworld, Jake Morrison was beginning to understand the true scope of what humanity was becoming. As he touched the central pillar, visions flowed through his mind. He saw the Valdari in their final days, not dying but choosing to transcend physical existence. They had fought the same battle against fear and ignorance that humanity now faced. They had won, but at the cost of leaving the physical universe behind. "They're still here," Jake said to Lisa, his voice filled with wonder. "The Valdari never really left. They've been waiting for us." In his mind, he heard a voice like the whisper of stars. "We are the guardians who came before. You are the guardians who come after. The galaxy has need of protectors, and protection requires both wisdom and strength. What do I need to do?" Jake asked. "Accept the responsibility. Accept the power. Accept the role of shepherd to all sentient life." Jake felt the network awakening around him. Across the galaxy, every Valdari artifact began to pulse with new energy. Human ships found their weapons suddenly more powerful than ever before. Human soldiers felt strength flowing through their bodies. Human pilots discovered they could fly their ships with thought alone. But more than that, humanity began to understand their true purpose. They were not conquerors or destroyers. They were protectors. Guardians of a galaxy filled with life that deserved to flourish. Admiral Kate Sullivan felt the change wash over her fleet at Centauri. Suddenly, the alien ship seemed slower, more predictable. Her tactical displays showed her not just where the enemy was, but where they were going to be. "All ships," she broadcast, "press the attack. Show them that humanity does not yield." The human fleet surged forward with renewed purpose. They moved through the alien formation like hunters who had finally found their prey. But they struck with precision rather than fury, disabling ships rather than destroying them when possible. The aliens began to retreat, but not out of defeat. Out of something far more dangerous to their cause: understanding. They were beginning to see that humanity was not the savage species their propaganda had described. They were something else entirely, something that the galaxy had been waiting for without knowing it. The tide of war was turning, but the greatest battles were still to come. Jake Morrison found himself standing in a place that existed beyond normal space and time. The Valdari had brought his consciousness here, while his body remained on their homeworld. Around him, beings of pure energy moved like living stars. "We are the Valdari who chose to transcend," one of them spoke, its voice like the song of a solar wind. "We have watched the galaxy for 3 million years, waiting for those who could take our place." Jake looked around at the impossible realm, where thoughts became reality and energy took on the properties of matter. Why us? Why humanity? Because you understand that strength without compassion is meaningless. Because you fight not to conquer, but to protect. Because you have the wisdom to know when not to fight at all. Another Valdari entity approached, this one feeling familiar. "I am the one you would call the first guardian. I left the warnings and prophecies that led you here. I wanted to ensure that when the time came, you would be ready." "Ready for what?" Jake asked. "To make the choice that we made long ago. To become more than a single species and accept responsibility for all life in the galaxy." The first guardian showed Jake visions of what was happening across human space. The war was ending, but not through human victory. Instead, alien fleets were surrendering or retreating as their crews began to understand what humanity truly represented. Supreme Commander Lord Vex High had made his final stand at the edge of the Sol system, hoping to destroy Earth itself. But his own officers had turned against him. Sub-Commander Zephyl of the Hegemony had placed him under arrest rather than allow the destruction of humanity's homeworld. "The galaxy has been ruled by fear for too long," Zephyl had told his crew. "Perhaps it is time for someone else to show us a different way." Back in normal space, Admiral Kate Sullivan was receiving surrender communications from alien fleets across human territory. But more importantly, she was receiving requests for alliance. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we're getting messages from 17 different alien species. They want to discuss joining what they're calling the Human Protectorate." Kate smiled. "Tell them we'll be happy to talk. But make it clear that we're not looking to rule anyone. We're looking for partners." Dr. Lisa Carter was still on the Valdari homeworld, monitoring Jake's connection to the network. She watched as energy patterns flowed between him and the Ancient Control Pillar, rewriting both his biology and his consciousness. "Jake," she called out, "your vital signs are changing. Whatever's happening to you, it's permanent." Jake heard her voice from far away. He was changing, becoming something more than human, but not less. The Valdari network was bonding with his nervous system, making him a bridge between humanity and the ancient guardians. "The choice is before you," the first guardian said. "Accept the role of primary guardian, and you will become the link between your species and ours. You will live for millennia, guiding humanity as they guide the galaxy. But you will never again be fully human." Jake thought of Amy Johnson, who had died to save others. He thought of all the people across the galaxy who deserved to live in peace. He thought of the future that humanity could build if they had the wisdom to build it right. "I accept," he said. The transformation was immediate and overwhelming. Jake felt his consciousness expand to encompass the entire Valdari network. He could sense every artifact, every ship, every human who had been touched by the ancient technology. He was still himself, but he was also something greater. When he opened his eyes in the physical world, Lisa saw that they had changed. They still looked human, but they held depths that spoke of cosmic understanding. "Jake?" she asked uncertainly. "I'm still me," he said, and his voice carried harmonics that had not been there before. "But I'm also more. I'm the link between what we were and what we're becoming." Across the galaxy, humans felt the change. The Valdari network was fully active now, but more than that, it was responsive to human will and human values. Technology that had been dormant for millions of years awakened to serve not conquest, but protection. Admiral Kate Sullivan found that her fleet could now travel faster than light without using traditional jump gates. The ships moved through space-like thoughts through a mind, arriving wherever they were needed to prevent conflict or protect the innocent. Dr. Nathan Cross discovered that human technology was evolving beyond anything he had imagined. Weapons that could disable without killing, shields that could protect entire planets, medical devices that could heal injuries that had been considered permanent. But perhaps most importantly, humanity was changing on a deeper level. The competitive drive that had served them well as a developing species was being balanced by an understanding of their responsibility to others. President Helen Martinez addressed the galaxy from the United Nations building in New York. Her words were broadcast to every inhabited world, translated into thousands of languages. Today, humanity accepts the role that the ancient Valdari intended for us, she said. We will be guardians, not rulers. Protectors, not conquerors. We offer our friendship to all species who wish to live in peace, and our protection to those who cannot protect themselves. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Dozens of alien species requested membership in what became known as the Galactic Protection Alliance. Even many former enemies laid down their weapons and asked to be part of the new order, but there were holdouts. Some alien factions refused to accept human guardianship and retreated to the distant edges of the galaxy. Others tried to continue fighting, only to find that their weapons had mysteriously stopped working when aimed at civilian targets. Supreme Commander Lord Vex High, now imprisoned on his own ship by his former subordinates, raged against the new reality. This is not natural, he insisted. No species should have this much power. Sub-Commander Zethel, who had assumed command of the Zephyrian fleet, visited him in his cell. Perhaps that's exactly why they should have it, she said. Because they understand that power without restraint is the path to destruction. Years passed. The galaxy settled into a new pattern of peace and cooperation. Human ships patrolled the space lanes, but not as conquerors. They were rescuers, mediators, and protectors. When conflicts arose between alien species, humans helped them find peaceful solutions. When natural disasters threatened worlds, human technology provided aid. Jake Morrison, now the primary guardian, spent his time traveling between the physical and spiritual realms. He aged slowly, as the Valdari had, but he remained connected to humanity through his bond with the network. He helped guide human policy and ensure that power did not corrupt the species he loved. Dr. Lisa Carter became the head of the Valdari Research Institute, working to understand the full scope of the technology humanity had inherited. She never married Jake, understanding that his transformation had taken him beyond such human relationships, but they remained close friends and colleagues. Admiral Kate Sullivan retired from active duty and became the first Director of Galactic Affairs, overseeing humanity's role as guardians. She lived to see the establishment of peaceful contact with over 300 alien species. Colonel Sam Rodriguez founded the Guardian Corps, an elite unit of humans who worked directly with Valdari technology to respond to crises across the galaxy. They became legendary for their willingness to sacrifice themselves for others. Dr. Nathan Cross continued his research, but now his focus was on healing rather than weapons. His medical advances extended the lifespans of dozens of alien species and cured diseases that had plagued the galaxy for millennia. The prophecy had been fulfilled, but not in the way anyone had expected. When humanity awakened, the stars did blaze, but with the light of hope rather than the fire of destruction. The galaxy entered a golden age of cooperation and growth that lasted for thousands of years. And in the spaces between dimensions, the Valdari watched with satisfaction as their successors proved worthy of the trust that had been placed in them. The cycle was complete, But it was also just beginning. Someday, humanity too would transcend the physical realm and pass the guardianship to another species ready for the responsibility. But that day was far in the future. For now, the stars blazed with the light of human determination, alien cooperation, and the ancient wisdom of those who had come before. The galaxy was safe in the hands of its new guardians, and life flourished under their protection. The prophecy was clear, and it had been fulfilled exactly as intended. Humanity had awakened, and the universe was better for it.